Afternoon and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you guys once again from GreenDragonCVR in Woodbridge, Ontario, to talk to you guys about video games. How are you?
Oh yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you?
Not bad myself. Happy to be back here talking with you about video games again.
Feeling
It's been about a week.
sufficiently influenced. Oh yeah,
I got a bit
of
of some influence going on. A slight bit of influence. Watching some Subnautica footage is just making me want to get back into this game, actually.
Yeah, it looks really nice to play, like really fluid and smooth, right? Like, I'm losing my voice.
There's all kinds of potential once you... it does have a story, which I'm right at the end of. You just have to take some parts somewhere, essentially, that I've already collected and finished the game, but... After that, there's like, parts for all of these different fucking items strewn about the fucking map in different zones, and you have to go find them, and that comprises a lot of the end game. And as you can see, you can build pretty crazy bases, pretty expansive.
Yeah, it looks wild.
There's not really any limit, so far as I can understand, to how high you can stack the parts, and what you can do. The complexity of the build can be pretty intense. Yeah, as long as you reinforce them from the outside, so that there's no. They have like a structural integrity stat. You have to make sure there's not too many windows, let's say, because the structure will explode.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, keeping track of that kind of shit, you can go nuts, and just like Valheim, I guess, where there's the survival element that, in a pure sandbox game, you might feel kind of like you're just running on a hamster wheel. You got nowhere to go, nothing to accomplish. This game does have a story and all kinds of fucking world-derived goals to justify your base building and your collecting and your exploration.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's exactly like Valheim, except one major difference. There's not much in the way of combat.
Yeah?
Sometimes you have to fend off enemies with a little knife or whatever, some fucking torpedoes on your sub and shit like that, but by and large combat doesn't factor into this game.
Yeah, it's not like the main focus like many or most AAA games. I mean, maybe there's been some variation recently with, all kinds of games being popular in indies and stuff, but for the large part, AAA's, for the most, always had that combat was the chunk of gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Even still, I guess to this day, that is still kind of a thing, right?
I think so, yeah. Most games, we just take it for granted that combat will be involved. And I mentioned Valheim versus this one, and that's the biggest factor. The loop in Valheim beyond the base building, you're justifying your base building and your progression by the bosses you're going to have to fight in the future, I suppose, other than your pure creative impulses. But here, it's just exploration based. You want to get deeper and you want to accomplish the end of the story, I suppose. And it's interesting to me,
It's refreshing for sure. Right?
It's strange because it just does feel so ingrained for somebody who spent, I'm sure you'll agree, your entire life playing video games. We just take it for granted that combat is a part of a video game. What's the combat like?
You ask, turn-based, is it real time, is it range shooting, melee, this?
Yeah, and I think this question has gotten a bad fucking rap because the only kind of people that usually bring it up are just unfortunate types, who are I really want a more inclusive fucking game design philosophy that's about things more than toxic masculine fellas would enjoy. And it's but you don't have to be, not one of those people, or maybe you can be one of those people and still desire to do something else, right? Fucking the universe is a big, marvelous place. Why do we have to spend all of our time doing one thing?
Yeah.
Feels like, and I don't know. I feel like maybe I would have scoffed at this kind of question before, but I've been thinking to myself lately, why isn't there more stuff like this where you just do other shit, right?
I think
combat isn't a big part of it.
Yeah, I think there is, but maybe just relegated to not in the AAA space. Maybe because it's more experimental. I don't know, to what degree is combat that important for a mass market AAA game?
Probably very
surely
important.
You think, right? It should be, but what else is there? There's also sports games, racing games. Do we consider those in this argument, or?
I'm thinking of things though like Abzu, like Subnautica. Just games where you do other shit. It is possible.
Yeah, it still plays like a game that would have combat, first person or third person or whatever have you, but...
It's not doing, that action isn't being represented. You're not killing things
you're
or
not
fighting things.
Destroying things or gaining XP or fucking whatever,
Maybe it's because, Aristotle said that fucking the soldier deals directly with the common good in a way that other people don't, because fucking martial prowess, immediately concerned with that, So I guess to extrapolate on that, maybe like fucking combat features in video games because of the same reason it features in fucking every, you know, work of epic poetry or fucking probably interesting historical occurrence, right? Because that's usually how grand events are determined, and you know, games probably at least in a fucking superficial sense treat that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Also, what about like lose conditions? If there's no combat, how do you sort of like fail or you know, die or whatever? I mean,
maybe you don't, right?
Maybe you don't. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe you lose some sort of edge in there then, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you build excitement?
Yeah, I think so. No doubt. Like, there's all kinds of things to consider, but I guess these are probably like the biggest reasons, right? Like maybe stuff that is interesting intrinsically involves like fucking contention, you know, grand stakes, and
right.
As a result, you know, people at odds with one another over it. Yeah. But it could just be like a deficit of people's imagination. Like we haven't had anybody fucking think of anything worth representing other than this kind of shit, right?
Yeah, I mean,
by and large, you know?
Yeah, like when you consider Subnautica, it's brilliant to me that your progression is getting deeper and deeper, and you have to obviously do things and collect items and build things, craft things, whatever it is. But like you said, you're not fighting to take over, you know, zones or defeat enemies, bosses, whatever have you. You're just trying to get deeper. Like that's cool, right?
Yeah, that's interesting, yeah.
Fucking one way to do it, I guess.
If we parse like, you know, the fucking the combat in a game as kind of like, you know, the fucking author's choice of words in a book, right? Like it's what the guy making the game chose as like the immediate thing you're gonna touch or hear or see that he uses to communicate his idea, which is more distant. It's in his head, right? Like, why is it always this thing that corresponds to people's radically different ideas, right? Like I feel like that's probably not due to any of the stuff I just said about fucking the loftiness of fucking historical themes and how they involve like contention or anything. No, it's probably because
it's gonna make money. It's popular.
Just like we've come to expect it. It's probably like a mix of convention and lowbrow taste, right? Like that's led us to this place, and now we just fucking assume that, you know, digital representation always involves combat. And I don't think it has to be that way. Like we you know, we think about lots of games. Like there's Subnautica, like we just said, or Abzu, both water games, incidentally. But even Stardew Valley, without the cave part, actually would be pretty much a, you know, there's no fighting in that game either. It's not a combat game.
Yeah, fair enough. You could probably play the whole thing without combat. What about Minecraft? I know
Minecraft, there's a little bit of it, but not much.
Depends, I guess, if you're playing creative mode or survival mode, right?
So. I guess more that even that though is structured a little bit around having like armor and stats and like having, you know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Fucking, I don't really know where this is going, but it just, you know, came to me that most games are this way. We kind of take it for granted that everything is going to stay this way, and you know, to me, like, I guess I kind of understand why it is the way it is, but I also wish there was more games like Subnautica. Right?
Yeah, definitely. But I think it leads us to maybe going towards the indie route and stuff like that, looking elsewhere, because there is stuff out there like this for sure, right?
Or like fucking Disco Elysium.
Or Disco Elysium.
What the hell? There's like lots. One gunfight in the whole game, and it's.
But I don't think it'll be like in the AAA space if you really think about it.
Yeah, probably.
Look at one of like the most popular AAA games in recent years is like Doom. It's like pure action.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Good game, but it just goes to show, you know, kind of what people want there, I guess.
I guess I understand, but that kind of stuff, man, just for me, it just purely just doesn't cut it anymore.
Yeah.
You know? I just don't give a fuck about doing things that are just mechanically satisfying in that instant, and by the end of the game, you're doing just pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
What's changed? Where have we gone? What have I seen or known by this process? Like nothing.
Very true.
Just mechanical wankery, right?
Yeah.
Just fucking. It's like when I'm really baked and I'm just stuffing my face with food. I'm not hungry, right? Like I'm just, you know, it's like it's all right, but
going down like a fucking garbage disposal.
Yeah.
I hear you on that one.
I don't know, like, I guess that's why in the past year I've been drawn to fucking things like this or like Valheim.
Yeah, I think it's, if anything, it's, you know, it's refreshing. It's a shake-up.
Yeah.
Like, we'd spend our whole lives playing video games with different, you know, various forms of combat. Mm-hmm. We've seen all kinds, right? And
I guess, like, just coming out the other side of the game, though, like, you go back to it and you feel like obviously fucking, you know, you just build something in a video game. Like, man, you know, I'm not talking in this sense, but like, insofar as you are playing a game at all, on the other side of it, you fucking constructed something. Like, there's fucking symbiosis between your fucking mind and the thing as a recipient of your idea as well, right? Like, and not in this like make your own story sense. That's it's fucking, that's how it's designed. How you're supposed to engage with it, right? So.
What the fuck is that thing following you around?
They're like friendly creatures.
To give you little crystals?
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, Subnautica looks really interesting.
It is. I want to find other things like this. I guess No Man's Sky I also gave a shot too.
Yeah, there's some combat in there too, though.
Yeah, to me there's too much. That one went way too and leaned into like the grind, something fierce.
It was fun at first, but
yeah, I played like good 30 hours
it gets pretty grindy and boring.
Yeah, when it came out there was a campaign going on. Oh, you played it too, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, man, I finished the campaign.
Yep.
Took like 30 hours. That was good. Could go back one day, I suppose, if there's some more stuff they add, but
I'm sure they have been, because I think they've been steadily working on it, releasing content. But
yeah, to me it felt like not nearly as like, it was a good game, but it doesn't feel like this or Valheim. Like, these guys, obviously this is the purpose of the game. Like, they put a lot of thought into it. It's, you know, it's what they were trying to express, right? Like,
yeah,
when you get to No Man's Sky, everything is pretty good, but it feels all kind of just
it almost feels
together,
like an MMO.
like, just feels like little subsystems that just aren't that gratifying to
yeah.
I could build a base, but why? You know? Honestly.
Lacking something for sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't have that same oomph.
Yeah.
Stupid way of saying that it's not as good.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Maybe I don't understand it well enough, though, to be fair. Yeah. I haven't put the requisite time into it to really take everything I can out of the base for building systems and stuff. But
very dense game. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there's too much grind too, bro.
Universes, fucking all kinds
you measure
of
the resources you fucking use in the millions sometimes. It's just here, like,
it's a bit much.
Build
for
this
me.
wall, 4 fucking pieces of iron. All right.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's one thought that fucking we wanted to bring to you today. Like, why are there not video games with something to do other than combat? You know,
I'm sure there's a ton that we're not thinking of, or that we'll at least probably investigate more now. But definitely remains true on like the popular AAA, maybe even AA scale. Like, that's where it's at, right? With combat is standard. Like, it has to be there.
Yeah,
there has to be some kind of, I guess, power struggle or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's even, I mean, fuck, back in the day we even had weird shit like, The Sims and like SimCity, and there's even like Civ game. There's all kinds of examples of games that probably don't have, actual combat, that don't come to mind right away, but they do exist.
They do, yeah. No Man's Sky, I guess in comparison, it felt like like you mentioned, like an MMO. It was inspired by MMO mechanics anyway, so there was a lot of fucking grind to achieve things that felt like minimal, if, not useless upgrades when it came to your base. Whereas in Subnautica, I suppose you could fucking accomplish the same kind of thing with your mobile vehicle, but you need the base look quite like Valheim is your progression, right?
Yeah. How did the inventory stuff work? I know No Man's Sky was kind of annoying. You ran out of inventory slots right away. You were able to upgrade it, but at first, like, right away, you just run out.
It's inventory management is a big thing here too, and you have to build the fucking that thing up. See that truck I had there, full of compartments for storage and shit, so that when you go on big mining runs, you
leave everything behind.
Yeah, that's a big thing, getting to and from your base. And I built this base early in the game, like in this noob location, really high up, so it's fucking hard to get to like the resource intensive areas and bring it back. But you get like vehicles and cool shit. Yeah, it's really like, traversing space becomes a real like fucking fun thing. You load into every time you go on a journey, you have your truck, you put your vehicle on the back of the truck, you load up all these extra batteries. And you're like, fucking let's go. You just blast off across the map. You see like sometimes like giant leviathans, but you don't even have to care anymore. You just drive right into their eyes. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it looks sick when you dive in. You're just like floating around, fucking.
Oh, and being in your base, bro. Like, there's chill music playing. You have a jukebox. You put on this chill music. You can sit in the chairs and like build gardens and fish tanks and just put decorations on the wall. I don't know. It's fucking just such a fucking great feeling being in that world.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
+1 for Subnautica, no combat game, or very little, rather. whatever it is anyway, it's not the main focus, right?
That's right.
So that's cool.
Another thing, I didn't mention this to you earlier. It just occurred to me. I was reading this week something that's reminded me of this fucking article in it's a pretty good academic journal. You know, this place people send their fucking articles to be published sometimes on a topic. You know, this one's called Reality. It's about philosophy, like ontology, talking about being and shit. You know, about various topics. And there was an article about gaming in there.
Interesting.
And this guy, I think he used fucking, what the hell was the fucking guy's name? Marshall McLuhan, that was the fucking guy. This guy from U of T, Marshall McLuhan, he used to write about like fucking technology and how it relates to human beings and science, and you know, this guy was pretty much saying how, like, based on this dude McLuhan's view that technology is an extension of the human person, whereas art is supposed to be like an extension of society that's for purging like fucking psychic tension that comes from participating in society. He says games can't be fucking art because at the end of the day they just end up being an extension of the human body that makes man numb to his consciousness.
What?
Quite like any other mechanical system, by forcing you to participate in these like rules-based systems. It's not like a fucking, this guy would say, like a drama where, like, you know, in participating in it, like he says poker is great because poker is like an artificial extension of like the rules of society, where in participating in it in this safe atmosphere, you kind of like purge the tension you would feel in normal society, and then you can go back to normal life. He's saying in games you can't do this because they're too much like an extension of reality. They're like logical spaces that have their own fucking rules and shit like that. And instead of like you going into them in this like anti-reality where you can like fucking act out your whatever, your fucking bourgeois tension, I guess, and go back to reality normally, they instead like make you hypersensitive to reality by continuing to like by extending it almost, right? Like it's just like, it's like the guy's saying the exact same thing I would say about video games, but he's saying it's a bad thing. Because he thinks the purpose of art is to fucking jerk you off somehow, to make you feel like, you know, I guess to release your psychic whatever. I really like, I don't understand what that could possibly mean.
That's
what the fuck the release of psychic tension is. What kind of nonsense this is, or who could think that technology fucking, like, there's this like hypersensitivity that you could develop and there's this upper limit to what people can perceive. But like thinking about all this stuff, like I guess it brings us back to like why, you know, it would be nice to see something in a game that's not just necessarily related to combat. Like I could see what the fuck this guy is talking about if the kind of game we're playing is just like some kind of like genre-based fucking exercise. We're like, yeah, we're just gonna fight and figure out how to do it. Like you're just surrendering your will to like this like fucking algorithm essentially. Yeah. You know, that's just gonna play itself out. Fucking, what is it? I don't know. It's this thing we're doing based on what people did before and what we think people want, right? Like in that sense, the guy's fucking criticism is verified. The thing becomes almost like mechanical, and even if it's not like, you know, even if his definition of art is wrong, his criticism of what fucking games are in the bad case is true, right? They do kind of become like that. And I think like, not necessarily to do with combat, but that is a big convention that people just fall into that kind of proves this dude right, you know? We're just like acting out fucking cultural or mechanical forms half the time, right?
Yeah. Dude's never played a Kojima game for sure.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, of course not. He ends the fucking paper by saying like, well, fucking taking all this into account, taking into account the fact that digital mediums can be used to represent any pattern, we should, you know, try and do like these, you know, dramas of cultural dramas like fucking people used to do with Homer and shit like that. It's like, bro, you fucking are so out of touch, man. You know what I mean? You're fucking out of touch. Yeah. He's like, yeah, video games, Pac-Man and shit, right? You know, like, oh, fuck.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think he actually mentioned that, but, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to bring up, like, to me, this is funny because on the one hand, you're like, this is so stupid. There's like so much stuff that proves this guy wrong. But on the other hand, he's kind of saying the exact same thing I'm saying right now. Like, why isn't there more stuff that's not just the acting out of conventions, right? Like, it does kind of suck in a way, you know?
True. Sure. When you get games like Death Stranding coming out, people are complaining because there's not that section of, you know, gameplay chunks that are all combat, like.
Yeah.
And you wonder why, right? But the game was phenomenal in its own right, and it still had combat.
Sorry, follow this. Yeah, it was a bit rambly, but I guess, you know, to kind of fucking make it into a coherent point, like bring these two things I was saying together, you know? Feels perhaps like our over-reliance on combat is like the de facto mechanism of gameplay and everything. Yeah. Is perhaps a tend towards like a mechanization of the genre, of the art form, right? Of the medium, you know? Yeah. Instead of people being like, I'm going to fucking use this as a language to express my concept, the fucking, the shit starts to influence their concept, right? Yeah. Their concept necessarily has to involve this or that.
Or even to tell some kind of story or just a narrative of some form, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Combat.
Yeah, and in that case, it would be the case that, you know, you're not really like fucking participating in a semiotic fucking experience when you play a game. You're not like seeing something represented to you. You're more surrendering your fucking your intelligence to a mechanical process, right?
Yeah.
A thing in and of itself with no reference outside
It's like
of
playing
itself.
a sports game.
Yeah.
Fucking playing
Kinda.
FIFA,
Kinda.
you know?
That's a whole conversation for another day, actually.
Yeah.
How sports fit into that, I don't even know. We'd have to work
geez.
that out. That's a bit of a doozy there, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because fucking sports, do they have that? Are they
racing.
not mechanical, technically?
I mean, yeah, it's like a simulation type thing, right? That's why that's
Even
whole...
a sport when you're playing it. How does that work?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. Man, we
Yep.
should make a game, bro. We should get Jingoy
think
on board.
we've been
He
saying
said
that
he's
for quite
doing
some time.
modeling now.
Yeah?
He's fucking around with that.
Ooh.
We should make a survival game in an open world with no combat. Just fucking dig holes and build stuff, you know? Get chased by big monsters. Or something.
Yeah. I'm down.
Or it could be about politics or something.
We'll figure
Just
something
go
out.
easy. It could be a written
Yeah.
game like that.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Just get fucking high on all manner of things and just write the best script ever.
Write the
Yeah.
fucking coolest shit.
Yeah, it would be incredible. I'm looking forward to Nightingale for that reason as well. That's
Nightingale
another
looks
one that
sick.
I'm on the horizon with this stuff. There's a few things actually.
There's
like
a few
that
things
Stardew
coming.
Valley slash Valheim one I talked to you about today.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Fuck, what was it called again?
I don't
Oh my
remember.
God, I'm terrible.
I'm really open to this though. I'm really open to this genre. I'm curious to see how fine-grained people can get when it comes to letting you manipulate assets in the world.
Yeah.
That's
I
what I'm
think
really interested in seeing.
Nightingale will be interesting for that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, because I think games like Minecraft, Valheim, they fucking really like don't have everything is manipulable, almost everything.
Yeah.
Except in Valheim, you can't grow like certain bushes and shit like that.
Well, you got to think as now those games have become more and more popular and are being, made by bigger studios with bigger budgets. With we're gonna see some innovation in that space, right? And we'll see how far they can take it. I mean, now, as much as I'm sure we'll rip on it, but Blizzard announced their game that's a fucking survival type game, which the only reason I'm saying it, the only reason is to just go to show that it's up to like the AAA
it's gonna suck ass
thing, right? Yeah,
it's
probably
gonna be
suck for
monetized.
sure.
So can you imagine
Blizzard's
how
garbage? 100%.
Imagine if you wanted to monetize a game like this, how fucked up you could be.
Oh, you
man,
could go
it
pretty
could get so
fucking deep.
bad. Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
Conan Exiles is another cool one. Oh
Yeah?
shit, I really wanted to try that, but apparently it's a huge time commitment.
Yeah,
Huge. It's like a
grind
lifestyle
fest.
game. It's a
Yeah.
fucking game, man. It's a huge game. People have clans. It's like fucking crazy shit. Crazy. So I don't know.
nuts.
To me, like, I don't. Then I'm never gonna play another game again if I get into something like that.
Yeah.
And the bases you can build, like, I'm torn between thinking they're better or worse than Valheim because you can do crazy shit.
Crazy fucking stuff.
But the way they monetize it is they have shit tons of expansions.
Oh.
Shit tons of like you have like
Like The
a
Sims,
wall, right?
just all kinds.
But there's like a style of wall, just a basic wall for like every civilization in the fiction. And each
jeez.
one is in a $14 expansion pack.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty fucked already. But
Chump
imagine
change.
now if they sold you packs in game to build the actual walls.
Oh god.
That's the Blizzard way right there, right?
They will. You know they will.
Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck that
They're
game. But
they're gonna break the fucking progression. Either
Oh,
that
for
or
sure.
just sell you a bunch of actually, to their credit, I don't know if they ever did that in WoW.
I wouldn't even know. I haven't played enough.
I'm not sure. It's a good question actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident about that.
No.
Hopeful for that genre though. I be cool to see it. Imagine an RPG with like a proper fucking story and characters and stuff like that.
Mixed
Even a
in.
JRPG with,
Yeah.
with that kind of
With
stuff.
these kinds of elements.
Yeah.
Almost how like Metal Gear Solid 5 had base
Yeah,
building stuff
sure.
integrated in the game, but
Yeah.
on a grander scale, right? It would be cool to see what kind of stuff can be like will come out in the future if they'll integrate shit
Yeah.
like this on a grand scale to, like you just said, to those kinds of games. That would be very fucking interesting.
Why is it that it's not even base building necessarily? Think back even to the 360 era, like games like Far Cry 3 had it. Remember Overlord? Did you ever play
Fallout
Overlord?
4 had some of that shit.
Sure. Fallout 4.
Overlord, I haven't played it, but I know what it is.
You had like the tower that you had to upgrade and shit.
Yeah.
All of these games. And Assassin's Creed 2 even. Remember Ezio's fucking...
Yeah, you had the fucking, like, that Assassin's clan. You could send them out and shit.
That was the
There's all
Brotherhood,
kinds of-
but even number 2, the original one, you had his fucking mansion or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
could, like, put new shit there, you know? You had, like... It was like your little own town.
Yeah, yeah.
At one point.
You upgrade and buy stuff. Yeah.
Why is this so satisfying, eh?
I don't know. I guess it
like-
gives you, like, some kind of... like ownership and belonging in the world, for lack of better words. Like it kind of integrates you in there, right?
Yeah,
like
it does. But I mean, like, technically you're integrated even if you're not. You're integrated in just without that, just in a different position. So, like, I don't know. There's something, it's hard to articulate. I really don't have an answer.
the
Like,
issue, yeah.
For me, it's like, yeah, I don't know what it is,
really-
but games that have this, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking into that shit, you know?
Right.
Immediately. Either that or Souls-like. It's the only thing that I can feel
lately,
like.
yeah.
RPGs have been fucking doing it for me too. Even CRPGs. I played a few of those in the past couple of years.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that last Tales game that came out in terms of
Yeah,
JRPGs.
It would be nice to finish that too.
That would be nice to go back in and finish.
Louis finished it actually. He said it was good.
Fucking sweet game, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Speaking of JRPGs, apparently there's a Final Fantasy 16 trailer dropping soon, and the game is mostly finished.
Exciting.
That will be fucking sweet to get our hands on eventually, hopefully this year.
Yeah,
though
what
I'm
the hell
not
was that?
sure.
You were telling me it was
I don't know. I remember early on they were saying that there was speculation that it would be more character action game. I mean, I guess technically 15 was kind of like that, but then 7 Remake was like a free-for-all. You could switch between characters, and yeah.
Even the way it felt though when you were doing free combat, it was like kind of chunky. Like it was, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a character action game at all. Like
yeah, it felt a little more grounded.
Soulsy almost.
Yeah.
With the dodging and the fucking.
Yep.
That was a great game. Can you imagine that was almost 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago.
Wasn't it 3? No.
2020, bro. COVID.
2020, yeah.
Came out on my birthday in COVID year.
Yeah, that's right.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what they're cooking up with part 2. But yeah, I can't believe it's like, oh my god.
Time's flying. Bro.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary.
It's scaring the shit out of me.
I mean, I hope 16 has similar combat anyway, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know yet. We'll just have to see. I guess from that first trailer years ago that dropped, it kind of showed, like, it looked like it might be like that. But at the end of the day, it's early footage. We just don't know, right, until we see. So
I'm open to it anyways, but obviously I have preferences for something more traditional.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what 16's like. I'm fucking super excited for that, obviously.
The fuck do I know about it, but I'd like to see them go back to the drawing board with how they had, like, you know, in 13 era, that really, like, towing the fine line between fucking real-time and turn-based.
Yeah, it's nice for the kind of have some kind of, you know, in between, like they sort of have been going towards when they, you know, made 7 remakes combat.
Timing was important in that game.
Yeah.
But you couldn't move or nothing like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But changing into the right set of fucking rolls, you know, by the second could determine whether you live or die. So that was interesting, and I think, like, we talked about this before, but why aren't there any fucking turn-based games where you haven't a chance to dodge the enemy's attack based on frames, right? Like,
yeah, almost like a hybrid.
with
like,
an action input that gives you iframes if you press it as the attack is contacting you. You know, just something like that, right? Like, I'd like to see people explore that more, not just this linear progression of it from turn-based to real time, right?
Right.
That sucks. What do you say we clock out for tonight?
Yeah, I think that'll do it for now. Bit of a long night ahead. I hope to play Seafood tonight, hopefully, now that the physical copy's dropped on the PS5.
Yeah, same, man.
That'll be sick.
I've been holding off on that for a few months.
Yeah.
And it was pretty highly acclaimed, too, so...
Yeah.
That could be another genre in and of itself, right? Like this martial arts stuff, seeing how they handle that, because apparently it has a lot to do with, you know, where you strike somebody on their body.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I knew it has some kind of unique characteristics, but I don't even know, like, the specifics, because I pretty much just waited for a physical. I never wanted to buy a digital, so...
Yeah, same, man.
I didn't really look into it too much, so...
All right, well, on that, we'll be back on Tuesday with a trial run of our new show, Virtual Voyages.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you guys then. Thank you very much for tuning in, and take care.